Okay, so I guess we're going to do a more formal introduction this time. Is that kind of what
they didn't see last time.
Huh?
They didn't see last time.
No, but I'm saying, have we started?
Oh, we started. So last time, we filmed episode 0, and the episode 0 didn't see the light of day, but that's okay.
That's okay.
It was a rehearsal.
It was a learning experience.
Yeah.
We should introduce ourselves.
We should.
You go first. Your name is first in the alphabet, so I think it's right that you go first.
Welcome to the, I just completely spaced on the name of our podcast.
Oh my gosh.
Give me a second.
Hear me out.
Give me 10 seconds.
Welcome to Hear Me Out.
There it is.
It's a podcast where basically you guys hear us out and our future guest about anything. I don't know what camera to look at. I'll look at this one. About basically anything we want to talk about. So that's Ian.
We're both
Schrift.
pretty spontaneous, and we, as you will see in the podcast, that we'll be talking about one thing, and then our minds will shift, and we'll be talking about something else, and that's just the way it's going to be.
Do you think that's a good first selling point to be telling the people?
Not really, but if you're the type of person like us, where you don't want to listen to the same thing for 12 hours straight, like, this is a great podcast for you.
Every episode will be different. We can guarantee that. Okay.
So my name's Ian.
I'm Katelyn.
And this is the Hear Me Out podcast.
So on today's first episode, which I guess is now our episode 0.
This is episode 0.
This would be episode 0.
Our original episode 0. We filmed it, we shot it, we were proud of it, but all of our cameras had died halfway through, and it just would have been an audio podcast, and I don't think either one of us wanted that.
No. But here we are today, and today we're going to talk about the Spartan Race.
Yes.
Because we just did a Spartan Sprint in Newberry, South Carolina, with our good buddies Yvonne and Sachi. Mm-hmm. You guys don't know them. You'll hear their names quite often, though. Maybe we'll put a picture in between us of what they look like, of all of us at the race, muddy. But basically, it is a obstacle course that you race on. And we did the shortest one.
We did, yes.
With no training.
So, yeah, I think that's probably going to end up being the title of this podcast. It's like doing a Spartan race with no training. Pretty much,
yeah. I mean,
it's gotta Yvonne be runs like that.
Yvonne runs. He's good with running. He can do like very long distance things. I can run 2 miles, which I discovered my 3 days of training. Ian can run. I ran
a 5K, 3.1 miles once in my entire life, and that was 3 days before.
And Sachi ran about 4 miles for the first time ever, I think.
Yeah.
And had a really good time for each mile, which was crazy.
Yeah. See, I think our training. So leading up to it, we were like, yeah, we got to train. But then none of us actually trained, right?
Yeah.
So we were like, we're just going to show up to this thing, and we're going to figure it out. And I think that's actually why I think that was more fun than actually training for it. I hate running a lot. And if I would have trained, I think I would have hated it more.
Really?
Yeah. I think like the whole training aspect of it and running every single day, I would have been like, man, I hate running. I hate this whole training thing. But I ran like 4 times to train for it, and I felt like that made me ready.
I ran 3 times.
Yeah.
First time I ran was 1 mile. Second time I ran was 2 miles. Third time I ran was a mile.
Good.
Because that was supposed to be,
Good.
Yvonne told us you're supposed to like, on the week of, like kind of like taper down how long you're running. And I was like, well, what's down from 2? And the answer was 1. So.
I don't think I was there for that conversation.
Probably not.
I think I completely missed it.
No, you were there. You were standing right next to me.
Okay. I was going to run a 5K like the night before. To be like, I want to make sure I can do it. But then I knew that was bad. And then what we actually did to train the night before was, I think, 10 times better.
I didn't participate.
We did absolutely no training. And we just might have had a beer or 2.
Okay.
That was it. No I mean, I think it was great. We had a great weekend.
We did.
We just ended up going to the lake for a couple days and then running in Newberry, South Carolina.
Mm-hmm. And next year's a 10K. But anyway, to talk a little bit about the race, in case you've never heard of a Spartan race before, give
me some facts on the Spartan race.
Absolutely. I've been dying to get to this part. Actually,
she came prepared with notes for this podcast, guys.
He gave me like 10 minutes to come up with a whole bunch of notes. If it was up to me,
you're welcome, guys.
I would have done like an hour's worth of research.
I saved you all.
But this kind of race has, like, obviously its origins are in the military. Mm-hmm. Like, this is the kind of thing that guys train for, like, when they're out in the field.
Speaking of which, when we show up, everyone's doing this hoorah
No, a roux.
A roux, or whatever it is, which was very
said,
like...
What is your profession? A roux, a roux, a roux. Which is not a profession. I checked Indeed. That's not the case. You cannot type it in and say, I want to be an a roux when I grow up. It doesn't work.
What does it mean? A roux? Do you know?
I didn't look that part up.
No.
You didn't give me time. All right, listen. So...
Probably just spiked right there.
You spiked?
No, I'm kidding. I said you probably spiked.
I probably did. So it has origins in military, like obstacle course kind of training. So like basically any high school that has a JROTC program has like these kind of obstacles that you'd see on a Spartan race. Like my high school was really big in JROTC, and we had like this giant wooden, it looked like a really cool playground, just more dangerous.
Right.
And I wanted to do it so bad, but I didn't want to be in the little high school military cult. So I said, no, thank you. I'll pass. But I did watch them every single time they were in a parade in my town because my brother was in it.
So kind of you.
I know. Anyway.
Did they pass out candy?
I grew up in a military town, though, like big time.
Yeah.
I was by like UNG. So like that's a big military college. And like when I went there for a semester, 2 semesters before I transferred, I think there's like a cannon that like goes off or something.
During football games? Or just
we didn't have football.
Oh, okay.
No football there.
Right.
There's a cannon, or there's like some sort of like thing that they play, and you cannot move. Oh. You could be anywhere on campus. You have to stand there.
It's not taps, is it? With a trumpet?
I don't know. Every now and again, they'd land a helicopter on our
That's
field.
Fun.
And like one time, I brought my brother's dog, and I didn't know he was terrified of helicopters, and I felt really bad. I felt so bad. Same dog that we mentioned last time, which nobody knows about because that episode didn't go out, but there's an instance where my brother was swinging on a vine and I was holding his dog, and he like just held up his feet, checked me in the gut, and I did a backflip into a ditch holding his dog, the same dog. He had a rough life, that guy. I don't remember what happened to him.
You don't know how your dog died?
He's no longer with us.
And you don't know why?
No. I don't remember. That's crazy. He wasn't my dog. He did not die of natural causes, though. Okay. So anyway, back to the race. It has origins military, as you've heard 2 times before. So like if you go way, way back, like to the Romans, their legionaries trained for battle by practicing jumping over like natural barriers like hedges and ditches and stuff like that. So you see a little bit of that. But then you kind of get into like our more recent events. So World War I, World War II, they're like, these guys need more training. They're not super, super fit. The guy that really started it all was this guy. He was French, named, and I don't really know if he pronounces his name Georges. It's like George, but plural, which is just weird. Okay. For a guy's name.
You're teaching me all this right now. I have no idea what any of this is.
Georges,
yeah. It's definitely Georges, actually. He's my homie.
Herbert is his last name?
Yeah.
He got the idea of taking like these sort of, well, let's go back just a little itty bitty bit. So frequent wars had shown certain nations like France and Britain and Germany that they need to keep their people in fighting shape.
Right.
And so they kind of like started developing these different ways that they were going to do that. And a lot of that ended up being like these just really weird obstacle course kind of things. But none of them were super permanent. It was just more like, oh, we have gymnastics and running and jumping and they climb ropes and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
And then I'm just going to call him Herbert. He was like, we should actually like make these things into a very set obstacle course. And then we can just send guys rolling through there and they're going to feel great.
Right.
And they're going to be ready for battle just like the Romans were.
Right.
Before the fall of the empire. What happened to them? I don't remember. I didn't research that today. So he, and again, this is French, so I can't pronounce it, but he created un parcours. I don't know, courses on which one walks, one runs, one jumps, one progresses. That's a word for crawls that I can't pronounce.
Okay.
But it means crawls. It's quad, like 4, like all 4s.
Is that what we did under the, that's exactly what we did.
We crawled under quite a few things. Yeah. Speaking of crawling, I never learned how when I was little. Were you there when I told that story?
No.
There we were on the course getting ready to crawl under barbed wire. And this is before the Spartan race even starts. And so we're crawling under barbed wire to get to the starting line.
Right.
And I was talking to somebody. I thought it was you. Maybe not. Maybe there was.
It probably was. We're standing there, and we're watching these people crawl under this barbed wire to get to the starting line.
Yeah.
And I'm like just in awe of the amount of cultish people, which great
we
people.
bought into.
We bought into it 100%.
Hard.
But it's a cult, and you can't change my mind that it's not.
Okay.
Because we're standing there, and they're all like, "Who rotten?" and "Ruin" or whatever you said it was.
Aru.
Which is just terrifying. And they knew the answer to every question, and they all said it in like a manner together.
What's weird is they would say a question to all the participants at the starting line, because we were like, the heat before us is just like 15-minute intervals. Right. So we heard everything that went down. And our guy, when he was announcing hours like before he went to get us like all hyped up, was like 5 minutes. But the heat before us had like a solid like 15 of him like hyping these guys up.
I think the heat before us was like an actual like competitive heat, because
you never know.
Every single one of them looked like they belonged in the Marines or the Navy SEALs or whatever the origin
they
of
looked well
the races.
A lot of it is like these people will do like the Spartan Super, and I need to look up the other ones. I think they may have one called Beast. I'm not sure. They had Super, they had an Ultra, but they're all these different distances. The longest one that we saw was 29 miles.
Which is insane.
And some of the people who had done that race earlier in the day were doing the sprint with us. So they already had gone through the mud. They're doing all the obstacles again, plus some, which is just crazy.
Yeah.
But like, it's so impressive. Like
it is.
When I was looking up because we ran in like the open, and it was just like no one's really competing. I mean, some people are definitely like kind of like competing against themselves. But as far as like money rewards, which Spartan does do, like you get to the world championships, I think you can win like 15,000. Right. Like some people race for a living, but I'm only looking at that camera, and I hope that's okay.
I don't even have to look into a camera.
I could look over there sometimes. It just feels right. I'm just, we listened to a podcast yesterday by Stuff You Should Know in Yvonne's car on the way back. We drove separately because we didn't have enough cars to hold all the bodies, or we didn't have enough space in one car to hold all the bodies.
Didn't have enough seats.
Not enough seats. But we were listening to is that going to bother the cord if I keep touching it?
Maybe.
We're going to find out, because I've been touching it the whole time. But we were listening to a podcast on parasocial relationships.
Oh, wow.
So basically, it's like you feel connected to podcasters or celebrities or TikTok influencers or whatever. And it's kind of like a newer phenomenon now, or I guess more widespread phenomenon now, because we have so much more connectivity with people on socials. So it's just like you listen to podcasters, you could be like, oh, I could be friends with them in real life. Like you feel connected to them.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't think I've ever felt like I enjoy listening to people.
See, we on our way back, we just sat in silence. We didn't have any music. It's kind of weird.
Serious?
Yeah, we had no music. We talked a lot, but in between conversations, I was driving. I was very tired.
Yeah.
But it was like not tired where I was bobbing my head, but I was just like vibing, right?
I felt fine.
I was so tired.
I didn't even sleep last night.
Really?
I slept a little bit.
I got home, I crashed on the couch, and then I was like, I need to get this mud out of my hair.
The mud. We'll get to that.
Yeah, it was
we'll get
insane.
to that. No, let's get to it now.
Let's get to it now. Let's start from the beginning of the day and then go to the end where the mud was.
I'm not done with my history.
The mud is the best part. Okay, finish your history.
All right, give me 2 seconds, because there's also a Spartan Racing history which builds off of this.
Let's talk about our day first, and then we'll go into more history after you finish this history bit.
Okay, yeah. Give me like a couple of seconds so I can finish this little part up.
Amazing.
But basically, going by the last name still, Herbert, because I can pronounce it. Oh, I wonder if he even pronounces that, if he's French. Herbert. How would you do that in a French accent? Herbert.
Sorbet.
It's like, it sounds like sorbet. Like the ice cream, like the frozen.
This is why we call this podcast Hear Me Out, because...
Well, right now, you guys you're hearing us out. I feel like I've stayed very on track. I'm really happy with my performance right now. So anyway, this guy basically makes these obstacle courses more like set things. It's just not like, oh, let's go in the woods, or let's like set up like this parallel bar. It's like an actual course.
Right. And
it stays that way. And I think he created this one thing. I don't have the name of it, but I think it was called the Natural System. I might be lying to people, but I think that's what I read. But he began to train the French Navy in the system.
Yeah.
And it would like prepare them for battle, all that kind of stuff. And eventually it just kind of spread all over the world for military physical education. And eventually, like, I even saw, like, in the 40s, you can actually find old videos of this on YouTube. Because I remember watching it years ago. But, like, you see these high schoolers, and they're training on these obstacle course because it was, like, part of their PE.
Right.
And it was, like, required for them. My PE personally was not like that.
Mine was not either.
It was like there was 100
dodgeball.
There was 100 kids in my PE class.
That's insane.
You'd maybe get one whack if you were playing wiffle ball, and
I had
that was
150
like,
kids in my class.
Really?
Yeah.
How big was your school?
Under 1,000 kids.
Mine was like my elementary school, strangely big, but then like I got to high school and I had a really tiny high school, but I also moved to the town over, so the population was a lot lower there.
I'd say 900.
Okay.
Maybe 1,000.
It's about average. Maybe they just put everybody in at once.
Maybe.
Which is kind of crazy.
That is crazy. I always, like, our gym class, we would just show up and it'd be a random sport every day. Sometimes it'd be dodgeball.
Ours was like that, but we still
baseball.
did presidential fitness test, everyone. I don't know when that started. I gotta research that.
I don't even know what that is. I don't think we had that.
You never did that?
No. I know there was time whenever we had to do, like, push-ups and pull-ups and stuff, but it was like I did it once maybe my whole high school career.
Once every year in elementary school. I don't even know like when it actually started. Presidential fitness test. Literally my favorite thing in the entire world. I loved it. It was like you did the sit and reach.
Yeah.
And you had to reach so far over your toes, like you were pressed against a box. There was a roller on the top side. You had to run, I don't know if it was like a full mile or just like so many laps around our gym. Had to run that under a certain amount of time. Pull-ups when I was 9.
I remember pull-ups specifically because no one could do more than like 8 in 9th grade.
I
It was
did.
like there was no one could
Elementary school was like I think easier because I was just smaller.
Yeah.
My arms maybe were just like disproportionate to my body at the time. I'm not sure because they were so much easier for me then than they are now. Because I think when I was 9 I could do 11. It was either
pull-ups?
Either when I was 9 I could do 11 or when I was 11 I could do 9, and I'm not sure which is right.
Interesting.
But one of the two, and I was really proud of that, and I can't do it anymore.
How many can you do now? Pull-ups. Did you test it? 2?
I haven't tested more than that, but the first time that I did it, Melissa and I went to Crunch because I don't have membership and she does, so I just
bumming off the roommate.
Off of her.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. I might get, if we train for a Spartan 10K.
Next year we're 100% doing the Spartan 10K.
I think that's the super. Yeah. I think that's called the super.
Okay.
And there's only 5 more obstacles, so basically like same race, just way more running.
Right.
Which is my least favorite part. But anyway.
How much is a 10K? 6.2?
I think that's what Yvonne said. So 6 days of training. Did 3 this time, 6 next time. We'll be golden.
What's that?
Perfect.
One 10K, and then we'll just like.
What I actually need are
real. It's still broken up.
Real running shoes is what I need.
I think honestly, next time I'm going to train more in the like lifting shale and walking a mile with shale, because that was the hardest part.
With what?
Like shale. You know how we put the like.
Shale.
Shale.
What is that?
Like.
What is shale?
The things in the buckets.
Gravel.
Shale.
You call that shale?
Yeah.
I've never heard anyone call that shale. How do you spell that? S-H-A-L-E?
Yeah, shale.
Excuse me. Look it up. I have to research this really quickly.
Is that not a common thing? Do you guys not call it shale?
I've never heard that word in my life, and my dad was in the construction business his whole life. I don't think.
Search shale versus gravel.
Okay. Has many commercial uses. Pottery, building materials.
Maybe it's not. No, it definitely is shale.
I don't know.
Shale's like the...
Versus gravel. It's different.
Is it?
Gravel lasts longer. Shale breaks down.
So it's the same thing, but one lasts longer.
I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know. Vote in the comments below. Is it shale or gravel?
Do we have comments gravel, on Spotify? Shale binds better. This is very interesting.
On our YouTube though. Subscribe.
Speaking of
gravel. Are we making
gravel,
a YouTube? Is this going on YouTube as well?
Yeah, why not?
I think it should.
Might as well.
I think I just spiked. Yeah, definitely spiked.
I haven't been looking at mine, so who knows really what's going on in the audio world over here.
Yeah. We could probably save it.
Give me 2 seconds. Let me finish this really quickly, and then we'll come in with how our experience
and
went.
then we'll
I've
talk
skipped
about our day.
It is called His Natural Method. Let's go. Who knew? I only read this a couple of minutes ago, really. Or maybe longer than that. I'm not sure. This is from, by the way, everything I've learned about this. A little bit of Wikipedia, mostly The Art of Manliness.
Oh.
good website.
Nice.
If you haven't heard of it.
No, I have not.
Not just for men.
Wow.
You'd be surprised. I don't actually know what else is on their site, but obstacle course history is one of those things. Anyway, Herbert's work on obstacle courses and training for military would continue throughout the 2 world wars. And then they spread across the world. And then in America, this guy named William Hodge comes in. He was a West Point graduate, veteran of World War I. And apparently, like, he changed American obstacle courses completely because he implemented a lot of, like, instead of, like, the elements of, like, walls and hurdles that we had a lot of in the Spartan race,
right.
and that I guess were part of, like, very, like, classical obstacle courses at the time. He started doing stuff like monkey bars, which we also did. Not a Teams message. Crawling through concrete pipes under barbed wire, swinging over ditches. So basically he was just like, he was trying to make these things really challenging and like introducing new things. So I guess they were just more well-rounded as athletes.
And now we have the Spartan Race.
And we'll go to Spartan Race, and then I'll do the history of the Spartan Race if anyone's interested. Okay.
All right. So, day of the Spartan Race.
Yes.
We have an hour and a half drive from the place we were staying.
Mm-hmm.
We hop in our cars, stop at McDonald's. That was our little pregame.
The only thing we ate that day until a little past my dinner time, I would say. I had an Egg McMuffin.
I had I don't know what I had. I think I had an Egg McMuffin.
Everyone had some sort of breakfast sandwich.
McDonald's.
Sachi didn't even eat his.
But it was great. I
Yeah.
mean, it fueled the day.
Mm-hmm.
Had some coffee.
Mm-hmm.
Did you drink coffee before?
I had an energy drink, and then
Perfect.
when my car,
Caffeine at McDonald's.
when Yvonne's car towing me and Sachi after the race stopped for gas, we got more energy drinks.
Nice.
I don't know.
I was just pounding Gatorades to
Yeah.
try to get as much liquid in my system before we weren't allowed to drink water anymore, because I was so scared that I was going to have water in my stomach. When I like first started running to try to get good at running, I would always have water in my stomach, and it felt like when I run, I could hear it moving.
It really, you know what that takes me?
Sucks.
It really takes me back to when I would like jump on the couch or my bed after I drank like a bunch of water.
Right.
And you just feel it.
Yeah.
It's not a good feeling.
But
it slows you down.
every time I ran, I would have that, even if I hadn't like drank that much water.
That's interesting.
It was so annoying, and I hated running because of it.
Well,
but it didn't happen. I was so scared.
you know
that,
what
like,
I hate running?
that was gonna happen.
I'll tell you. Not that you asked, but it's not because I feel like there's water in my stomach. Like, I'm good about hydrating a little bit before,
Right.
and like rehydrating myself after. It's more the fact that I just have no idea how to breathe. I do.
Fair.
We talked about this. I know how to breathe correctly, but it doesn't feel better.
It doesn't.
It's like you're
Breathing
supposed to
through your mouth
breathe
feels
in.
so much better.
It feels more efficient.
Yeah,
I feel like
I
I'm
agree.
getting more oxygen in the system. And
I think we should do our own study on that, because I still think that's
oh my
the
gosh,
case.
wait. Since we're out of the big history part, I just want if we have comments below, this is also going on YouTube. I need to know if people think skipping is more efficient than running, because we conducted a small study.
We did.
We conducted a small study when we went to Disney
We
World.
took some heat for this one too.
We did. By our better runners of the group.
Right.
And
But
that better runner would be Yvonne.
Those better runners have stuck to a way their whole lives of running, so they're not gonna switch
and
sides
that's
now.
what we call bias.
Biased.
So
It was way too biased.
I think we need a group of we need different ages. We need different like athletic levels. And we need to
put some
figure
heart rate
out
monitors on them and we figure
everything.
this out.
Make it tried, true, authentic, and it needs to be able to be replicated,
Right.
as all scientific research is.
And this probably sounds weird if anyway, but skipping saves so much energy.
It saves more energy. And I did a little skip when I was feeling really tired running at the Spartan race, and I felt rejuvenated. And then I think, carried sandbags.
Yeah.
Or was that right after? It could have been right after.
It was the
We
sandbags
carried-
and then the water and then the spear throw, I think.
Oh yeah, was that when I skipped?
Right before it.
In the woods, and it felt so good. But
Yeah.
when we went to Disney World, we had a little group go. Yvonne was not a part of it, so he wasn't a part of this study. But if he was, maybe he would have been less biased.
Yeah.
But we tried skipping through the parks. First of all, faster.
Right.
Way
So
faster.
we tried skipping because we were like, race you to the car. At the end of the night, we wanted to race to the car.
But before then, I had even skipped through
Were
the
you?
parks.
Oh, I
Yes.
wasn't practicing
I
then.
had tried it with Amelia.
Gotcha.
Yes.
Makes sense.
Please continue. I'm going to look up skipping versus running.
So we're in the parking lot and we're like, hey, I'll race you to the car, right? And we're like, go. And we both just start like running at first, and then we're like, let's try skipping and racing to the car. We skipped the whole way to the car. Neither one of us had been out of breath whatsoever, and it seemed like we went the same amount of distance in the same amount of time as we would have if we were running.
You skip a little. It was either you or Sachi. You kind of, when you skip, your whole body turns to the side that you're skipping on.
Yeah.
Which is very interesting to me.
You use your shoulders to skip a little
I
bit.
don't. I skip straight.
It's even more efficient.
That is how I went across the monkey bars during the Spartan race.
This section of this podcast is going to be called Skipping versus Running.
I'm not even done yet. I'm looking it up on Reddit.
Yes. See what the Redditors say. All right, everybody. So all of our cameras reached their 30-minute time limit, and we forgot to check it. But I think you only missed a couple minutes.
We should set a timer.
We really should. It's 6:30. What time did we start this thing? 5:45? No, we definitely started earlier than that. Or later than that.
Honestly, if some of it lives on without video,
guys, you missed the whole depth perception.
No.
Peripheral view conversation.
I say, listen. I
it's
say,
gonna be okay.
Listen, it's important to me. I say we keep it in, but we just film ourselves either lip syncing really badly.
Oh, should we lip sync to it?
Ad
lib it?
Ad
lib the part of the podcast that was.
We just do like random dancing or something as like an intermission as I talk about
peripheral vision.
Peri personal space. That's it. Oh my gosh, it's peri personal space. Did I say that before?
Squirrel.
I don't think I did.
Squirrel.
Peri-personal space was the word that I was going for this whole time. It's so important. Anyway,
crawling under barbed wire.
Yeah,
that. It's 50 yards, if we haven't said that before.
Sure.
And where was I going with the whole barbed wire conversation?
You started it.
I know. That was a long time ago.
I wasn't really engaged in that conversation. I'm not sure where it was.
Anyway, after the barbed wire, we're running through some woods. We have bags of not shale. Gravel on our shoulders and buckets of it later on.
We started with the sandbags.
That's what it was.
Which felt a lot nicer on the shoulder. I put my
morphed to like the shape of whatever you were holding it on.
I had a hard time having it on either in front of me or either shoulder, so I put it on my head. It was 40 pounds of sand just there. It was like she went to
the well.
Well, this morning
in
I woke
Somalia,
up.
back in the like hundreds.
It felt very Jungle Book-esque.
Literal hundreds.
To me. When I was doing it, I was like, I'm like little Mowgli in the jungle.
Mowgli.
Yeah. Or whatever village he ended up in. I don't remember a lot about that movie.
What movie?
Jungle Book.
I've never seen it.
Really?
I haven't seen many movies. I've never seen a Marvel movie.
That's crazy.
Never seen Star Wars.
I haven't seen Star Wars either.
Never seen
Harry Potter.
Those are the two big ones. I have seen Harry Potter.
Do you like Harry Potter?
Big fan of Harry Potter. No Lord of the Rings.
I was obsessed with Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
When I was in middle school.
I haven't seen any of it.
I did not have a lot of friends in middle school.
Yeah. I like documentaries. I think that's where I find all my interest.
I like movies based on true stories. Yeah. So that war movie phase was great for me because they were all based on true stories.
She watches some morbid movies sometimes. She'll come in and tell me a movie she watched, and then we'll watch the previews in the office, and I'll be like, "How are you watching this?"
It's like a nice little, like, I'll watch it, like, before I go to bed.
Yeah. And then that's crazy. That is serial killer vibes to the absolute max.
It's like people have a thing, it's morbid curiosity sometimes. And then sometimes it's just like,
I saw a guy get arrested today.
No way.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Man,
you saying whatever you just said sparked that memory.
I miss the days when I lived on that road where people just got arrested.
I was at Chick-fil-A.
Right. Oh.
Yeah.
Not the Lord's restaurant.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Second time that I've been there that the cops have been called.
Really?
Yeah.
Just like in the parking lot?
Last time there was a guy who was very not there, and he had cereal in his hand, and then a glass of milk in the other hand, and it was all over the place. And then he picked up his milk and cereal, and he walked into the Chick-fil-A, and then I was like, well, that's going to get crazy. And I grabbed my food from the pickup window, and I sat in my car, and I sat there until he came back out. He came back out. He was getting kicked out. And then he started getting aggressive. Then the cops came flying in as if there was like a shootout. Like they were flying into that parking lot faster than I've ever seen cops fly in my life. And they're like chasing after this dude. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm watching an action movie right now in life. But today I pull up to Chick-fil-A and this guy is on the hood of the cop car. And there's 3 or 4 cops like arresting him. Mm-hmm. And I was like, holy cow, this is like, I was on the phone with my mother. I'm like, hey, Mom, I'm watching someone get arrested. And she's like, where are you living? I was like, it's not that. It's Chick-fil-A.
No, but I mean, like, there's been quite a few instances when I lived in Athens and here where there had been, like, I used to get the police reports on my phone from the campus police, and they'd be like, guys, within a mile of you or less, there has been a shooting, broad daylight, it's 9 a.m. And, like, the one that I remember was this guy was just, like, he wanted his AirPods and he wouldn't give them to him. I was like, that is insane. And then one time
AirPods,
in our chemistry
great
building.
source for an argument.
How expensive are
I always
they?
fought my brother about stealing my AirPods. Not physically.
I don't like things in my ears. I need it over. Like,
oh, that's interesting.
I don't like it. It bothers me so bad. Which is, to circle back to the Spartan race, lots of mud in the ears.
Yeah, really.
Probably still in there, for being honest.
Definitely is.
I tried to rinse them out, and I
was on the way to work this morning, and I scratched the inside of my ear after I had showered twice.
Yeah.
And I still got a little bit of mud. And I was like, gosh darn it.
It's just, there's so many nooks and crannies around the ear. But back to some of the things made of sandbags. Mm-hmm. There was the I don't know, gallon bucket, 5-gallon bucket, whatever it was. Yep. Home Depot sized buckets of gravel. What else did we do? Spear throw. Wasn't good at that.
Spear throw was fun. I about ripped my finger off during the spear throw.
They're attached to ropes, so when you throw the spear, you can yank it back.
Yeah, I accidentally wrapped it around my finger. I was going quick. I had missed my first shot. I pulled it back, and I threw it without straightening out my rope. Completely tied up. There's a rope burn on both of them, and just ripped the skin right off my finger. I was really nervous at first that I just had pulled my finger out of my socket. Yeah. It hurt so bad.
Interesting. I would never have known because I was standing behind you, and there was, like, no reaction.
No, I had to keep going. I pulled it back immediately, and I was like, I got to throw it again. There's people waiting.
I was waiting, and I threw it 4 times, and I didn't get it. But
no, you did.
I hit. It didn't stick.
And
I kind of hit above.
You just had to hit it. That's all that mattered.
That's fair. Multi-rig.
Multi-rig was fun. That one was one of the hardest ones, I think.
So Ian and Avant, we had 4 people in our group. 2 people made it, 2 people didn't. I took a penalty lap. It was like, so basically it's a bunch of, what are those little hoop holder, hand holder things
I don't know the
called?
name of them. I was trying to think of it, but they have them in like gymnastic.
The rings. Yeah. Like they're little rings that you hold. And they look like Cheerios. Yeah. And there was 2, and then a long metal bar so it's like ring, bar. Yeah. But the bar is so much higher. And so, like, every time I went for it. The bar was
significantly higher. We were, like, you'd swing, ring. It kind of felt like Tarzan, in a sense, where you're, like, swinging from vine to vine. And then the bar, you had to completely pull yourself up and then.
Yeah. And I didn't have, at that point, like, the first time I tried it, I got my left hand on the bar, but it was just the fingers. Yeah. So I couldn't actually, like, grip it enough to pull the other hand up. And then the second time I tried it, and after that, my arms were shot, so I couldn't do it anymore. So I was like, penalty lap it is. And me and Sachi took that. But I had both hands on the ring because Yvonne was like, that's probably better to do it. Yeah. So he yelled, both hands on the ring. I was like, okay. Took a spin around the town. Because I
remember that. I forgot about that, actually.
I was facing the entirely wrong direction for a second. Yvonne goes, it's okay. And I was like, maybe not, because I was losing grip at that point. But, like, I kept on getting just my fingers on it because I couldn't pull myself up enough.
It was really high, yeah.
Yeah. But I think that
was by far my favorite one, though. And Yvonne and I both talked afterwards. We were like, if we hadn't got that first try, it would have been one of those ones that, like, man, I'm out of energy, and I don't know if I can keep trying this because it took a lot of upper body strength to just
the second time I did it was way worse.
Yeah.
Like, was way worse. But I think the final completion rate when I checked it was like 48%. Like,
really?
You can look at all the obstacles and their completion rate.
How do you know if you made it or not?
It's,
How do they know if you made it or not?
You check it manually. So if somebody doesn't check it, I'm sure it's slightly skewed.
Gotcha.
But I checked all of mine because I wanted to see what the completion rate of everybody was. Yeah. So that was 48% for our heat. And then...
What was the completion rate for the rope bag?
The Hercules hoist?
Yeah.
60-something.
Really?
But everybody was doing it in teams, so that would also count. So I think that was probably why. And then for the rope climb was 53, I think.
Okay. Wow, I'm surprised that the I forget the name of it. The rig was lower than the Hercules. Hercules was by far the hardest one.
Hercules hoist, so basically...
But granted, by the time we got there was so much mud on the ropes that we were pulling down that skewed the results.
I think that's what made it so low. Yeah. We basically, like, we get to a point in the race where you jump, like, into this giant, like, pool of really muddy water, and then you go up a muddy hill, and then there's a wall, and you have to go under it into this it's like a dunk tank of mud.
Just a muddy
Just mud.
pit that
Came
you're
up with a
underneath.
mustache.
Yeah.
Nobody else had as much mud on their face as me. I was looking at our
we were all
final,
caked, but I think the rest of us like
you guys did a
went for
better
our eyes.
job like wiping your faces
Yeah.
off, but I couldn't get anything off my face, and so I ended up with like a full like mud mustache / beard on my face, and then when I tried to wipe everything else off, my face was just way browner. So in our final picture, it looks like I have an ungodly amount of self-tanner on, and you guys look like mostly fine, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know how that
I
happened
don't
to
know.
me.
That was my favorite part, dunking in the mud, though.
It was
so
actually
much fun.
very refreshing.
It was
You wouldn't
so
you
refreshing.
wouldn't think it would be, but it felt great.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Amazing.
it's a very cool, just like overall, there's like great camaraderie.
Yeah.
Everyone's there to help everybody else
It's
out.
one massive team event.
Yeah.
Like, everyone cares about each other. Everyone wants everybody to finish. It was a blast.
I don't know what the actual like racing kind are like. I'm sure there's a lot. I mean, I'm sure they're way more competitive.
I was going to say, we all talked about it afterwards. We're like, man, this is one of those things that unless you're like really die-hard serious about doing stuff like this, it was so much fun just doing it with us and our friend group.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, we did it a 5K in an hour, which I guess isn't the fastest thing in the world. But we
It was a
also
5K
had so much fun doing
with
it.
20 obstacles.
Right.
I think
on average, what is it like?
I don't know what the average is. We were like 800 something out of
15, like
15,
60?
almost 1,600 groups maybe. So like we were in the 52nd percentile, I think.
And that was with us. Like, if we really wanted to try to get that up, we could have. But that was with us just like having fun and like waiting for each other and like
Yeah.
laughing and having just a blast.
We
while doing it.
agreed. We don't think it would be as fun if
No,
we were
it
actually
wouldn't be as
racing.
fun
I
because
would be
you'd be
stressed.
so worried about people.
I would be
and-
stressed out. But like honestly, I think you know what? The fastest time I saw is just this guy going through it by himself. 28 minutes.
He was all by himself though.
An hour heat. Yeah.
See, like, if you had nobody in front of you,
It takes
I
me
could see
20 minutes to run 2 miles. It takes me 20 minutes to run 2 miles. Maybe not anymore. I like to
Yeah.
think I go a little bit faster now,
but those guys train their whole lives for that race.
some people are very serious about it. And then like, you get into the actual like component where you can compete in the world championship that Spartan holds and
Yeah.
win a lot of money.
Which would be fun. If you were that serious
Also,
and diehard about it.
I
But
think I read, and I could be wrong, but I think I read that obstacle course racing is going to be part of the 2028 Olympics.
Really,
Yeah.
that's cool.
I don't know that for sure.
So is
it
flag
came-
football, which I think is the dumbest thing in the entire
No,
world.
that's going to be so cool.
It'll be like.
Is it co-ed?
No, I have no idea. But regardless,
If it's co-ed,
they
I
have-
could
they,
do it.
They play flag football right now for the Pro Bowl, and no one cares about it.
What is it?
The Pro Bowl, it's
I don't
like
know what that
right
is.
before the Super Bowl. It's just like all the best players of the year come and play a flag football game, which it used to be a regular football game, but then some people would get hurt, and they were like, "Yeah, we're not trying."
That's fair.
But,
But if it gives me a chance to be in the Olympics, I could
true,
get.
that'd
could-
be sweet.
I could get better at catching footballs, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, so
I want to
listen.
go to the Olympics. I want to go to the Winter Olympics. I think that'd be so fun.
I
to go
am
witness
more
that
interested
sports.
in the Winter Olympics too.
When is the
I
Winter
like
Olympics?
watching the people fly down on the ski thingy.
That should be this year, right? Winter, 2024.
2024.
Yeah. Is that?
Not this year, but it would be next year, I guess. Is it in January?
I was gonna say it might be.
Yeah.
It's probably next year.
I'm not sure.
I don't know how that works.
There's not been enough hype
there
about
wasn't
it.
a Summer Olympics last year, was it?
Great question, Ian.
Summer
I don't really
Olympics
keep up with
yeah,
sports, I'm gonna be
I don't know how
honest.
that works, actually.
So, we where'd we leave off in the race? The mud.
So mud,
Hercules hoist.
and then we climb up this net that's like, which kind of I was shocked how like kind of open and dangerous it was. You climbed up this net, and you could fall right through one of the.
Triangular shaped.
Yeah.
I don't remember what it's called, but everyone's climbing at once, so everyone's moving it.
Right.
And it's on just like a metal structure.
Yeah.
But it's really
And the
high
gaps are
at
definitely
the top.
big enough for someone to fall through.
Yes.
But it was another really fun one, but
But I think
one
it
of the
was
more dangerous ones.
I think it was just that, and then there was a wall on a incline,
Mm-hmm.
and you had a rope, and you just have to kind of like angle your body out to go up, and then right after that, you jump over fire.
Jump over fire,
You're
finish
done.
line, call it a day, signed, sealed, delivered.
Get a T-shirt.
We need to. I want to find those photos. And
They
Did they upload
pictures are not uploaded yet. They will be in a couple of days. But basically, jump over fire, get a free beer, get like a hydration drink and
hydration
water,
drink that they gave us at the end was awful. in
lemon
my
lime,
opinion.
Not my favorite thing in the world.
The beer after was the best beer I've ever had in my entire life.
I just like the cartoon on the outside of it. It's cute. It was nice. Okay,
But
so
that was our Spartan experience.
yeah, and now we get into Spartan Racing. Give me a couple seconds.
The history of Spartan Racing?
A little bit. Just 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 a
Gonna
little
go
bit.
take a nap now,
Okay.
guys.
So it's like broad overview, series of obstacle races,
Uh-huh.
and it varies from 3 miles to ultra marathon distances of 50K plus. I don't even know how many miles it is. 50K?
50K would be 150 miles.
Nice.
Wait. That's a lie. That is the biggest lie I've ever said in my entire life.
I got it.
3.1.
50K to miles.
Going quick. I missed my first shot. I pulled it back.
31.
And I threw it. 31 miles? Yeah. That's what that one was then.
The ultra.
That's what it was. Wow. I said 150 miles? That was crazy.
You're so close. You just take up 100. So they're held in the U.S. They've been franchised to 30 countries. So it began as a spin-off of something called the Death Race, and it was like these kind of things still exist today. Because I remember watching a YouTube video of someone doing it, and it looked brutal. But it's a 48-hour endurance event. And this one that Spartan was based off of was held in 2007. But he wanted it to kind of like Spartan was founded because the guy that created it, Joe DeCina, he wanted it to be like more manageable for just like anybody to kind of like go out, try, do that kind of stuff. So the first Spartan event was held in 2010 in Vermont, and 500 competitors did the run, crawl, jump, swim over like different obstacles. And then there's a lot of stuff in between here. And then eventually, actually, no, let's reverse just a little bit, actually. So in 2012, this is all Wikipedia, by the way. So if it's slightly off, I'm sorry.
Dangerous.
Some people argue that Wikipedia is more accurate than some of these like scholarly articles that you can read because it's always updated.
Those people are the same people that used Wikipedia to get through college. No, just kidding. I would actually agree with that.
I wasn't allowed to use Wikipedia
I don't understand
at all.
how somebody who says they're a scholar can say that their stuff is 100% factual.
Well, not only that, but it's just like if you're trying to find something, like when I took like nutrition classes, that kind of stuff is updated so often as we learn more and more about the science.
Right.
And so if I could only find a scholarly article over a very specific issue that I was looking at from 2009, it's probably not accurate anymore. So like that was the kind of issue that I kept coming up with. But if I could just look on any other site that may not have been like a .edu or like whatever, that kind of like posed a problem. Because like, yeah, I'm putting in stuff that I can like properly cite, but like, is it still accurate and is it still like medically relevant today? We just don't know. But basically, you know what? This is interesting because when I raced in 2016, I had a Reebok shirt and they were sponsored by them, I believe. And that's what this says here. And that was like in 2013. And we don't have any Reebok. There was no Reebok stuff there when we went, I don't think. So I guess that fell through.
Sorry, Reebok.
So they've been broadcasted. Like you can watch some of these like world championships that they have. That's pretty interesting. And then they have another race, which is like a 60-hour physical, tactical, mental team-based event. But like one of the things that I saw was that they acquired Tough Mudder, which is I think something that we looked at. Is that right? Is that the one that's like horrifying?
I think so. I'm not sure though.
Tough Mudder versus the Spartan Race. One is like they said. I think that Tough Mudder was more about like camaraderie, and Spartan Race was like you're racing for a time. But I think it was Tough Mudder. There's a race.
I would 100% do a Tough Mudder.
There's a race
It'd be fun.
that shocks you. Oh my gosh, it is. It's this one. You weren't in the car.
No, I wasn't. But I did hear about the one that like shocks the waters.
That's not all. It's kind of scary. Hang on. Let me just pull up something so you can see it. So in the obstacles, first of all, that guy's bleeding.
Oh.
They have this one. You take a dunk in a 34-degree ice pit. There's another called, let's see, Mudderhorn, which is very similar to what we did. So it's like that.
Oh, yeah.
There's a net in the shape of a paperweight. a triangular paperweight, and it's 40 feet up, which
That would
is
be
just crazy.
that'd be kind of fun.
And then there's electroshock therapy.
Oh.
So basically, you're going through a bunch of like tiny little stinging cords, and it's 10,000 volts.
Oh my gosh.
And there's another
awful.
one that also includes shocking, but you're like also in water, which is kind of crazy. Cage crawl. So
That's wild. Under mud?
yeah,
Imagine being under the mud
you have
and
you have 4 inches to breathe. Your whole body's immersed in water, besides like this much of your face.
That's crazy.
And there's a cage there, and you just have to. That one honestly seems like easy compared to some of the other ones. And then they have one called Crybaby.
That's insane.
And it's a bunch of like little tents, and you crawl through their tear gas blend.
Oh.
I don't know if you want to do this.
No, not at all, actually, anymore.
But
I do really want to do, like, the Navy SEAL training for a day, though.
I want
Like, that'd
more
be a
than anything.
blast.
Hear me out. I want more than anything to just pay to take police academy classes.
I agree with that. I think
Just to do
yeah.
it, just to experience it.
I would totally do it. Actually, I did a police camp for a week.
How was it?
Crazy.
Okay.
I was 15, and you went away to this camp for a week,
Yeah.
and it was straight boot camp. And it was just, I did it to, like, challenge myself, and a bunch of my friends wanted to do it. And they came into our class one day, and they're like, hey, we have this summer camp. Like, you're interested? Oh, there's the award, by the way.
Yeah, I forgot to show it to the people. It's a little muddy, but you get one of these suckers when you win.
Yeah.
Not when you win, when you finish. And there's
I still
3
have
races
to
that you
find
can
mine.
do
I'm not sure where I put it. It's in my car somewhere, I think.
somewhere. But there's a thing you can do called the trifecta.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll get a little chunk of a third. Once you get it, you'll have like a thing to make it all the way. What's interesting to me is that there's definitely a year on that. So I'm wondering if you have to do it in the same year.
Probably.
Or if it can just kind of be meshed around. But anyway, great experience. We're going to do it again next year.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I was at this camp, and every morning they would wake us up by just storming into our bunk room and just screaming at us, and then we'd have to make our beds. And then there was one kid that just wouldn't stop not looking at the guys. So then we were doing push-ups and stuff every single morning for like an hour while no one could figure out their crap. It was a tough experience, but it was fun.
No, that's going to be so cool.
I was going to say something completely unrelated, and I stopped myself. Did you see that self-control?
That was great.
It was good.
It's all the mental twist.
I know. I stopped.
What are we at here? I think we're at probably about an hour.
Yeah, I was gonna ask to check on the cameras again, but they might be
See what they
fine.
are. Which it used to be. I think that'd be so fun. But yeah, that was the Spartan Race. That was our experience at the Spartan Race. It's also our first episode of the Hear Me Out podcast.
Yep.
And Hear Me Out, Spartan races are 10 times better than any other 5K I think you can run. So
I think there's like, especially for someone who doesn't like to run typically because it's boring or like.
Even Yvonne, who loves to run,
It's-
said like this is a totally different thing.
It's a different thing.
rewarding.
It's like, I can't like attest to like the kind of people that you see or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
But there's just like such a like neighborly kind of like,
really is.
let's help each other out kind
Yeah.
of thing because
One
they
big happy
genuinely,
family.
yeah, they want you to finish.
Yeah.
But no, it was very fun. And I think it's like, this is the kind of race that interests me more just because I like to climb on things and I
Yeah.
like to like mix things up, which is why like I'd rather do like timed like HIIT workouts or something where you're doing like 20 different
Right,
exercises
right.
instead of just like
And then you're doing
the
it with
same.
people. And
Yeah.
it's fun.
But anyway, gonna do it again next year. So when we're on episode like, I don't know, 108 or so,
That's right.
you'll probably hear another one of these Spartan race things. And
Yeah.
I'll have
Actually,
more
it should be
time.
like episode 55. We do one a week.
You had a rope and you just have to kind of.
That makes more sense, actually.
Well,
But if we
how
get
many-
if
how
we
many
get
weeks in a year?
if we get
54?
crazy,
54 weeks in a year.
A t-shirt?
So yeah, 55 weeks from now.
is it 54 or
Is it-
52?
Is it 50? Oh, it's 52. No, you're right. It's 52. Unless it's a leap year, then it's 52 in one day.
Basically, jump over fire.
I actually don't know if that's actually how that works out.
It just gives February
It
an
does.
extra day, I
It
guess.
does.
Um.
But yeah,
Lemon lime.
Anyway,
episode
I
1.
guess that's it. Episode 1, done and over. Thanks for hearing us out. We gotta figure
that's
out.
That's a good closer.
Yeah?
Thanks for hearing us out.
Yeah. If you wanna send some stuff to our listener mail. I
Oh,
don't
already
know.
opening up the fan mail?
I don't remember the email that we've set up. but-
Oh, yeah, our email. Our email. Yeah, I don't know what it is either. You can check the link in the description though.
But yeah, if you want to be heard out,
If you want to
on-
send fan mail. Just kidding.
no, it's like basically I think if they want to be heard out on certain
Yeah,
topics,
I think
anything.
eventually we do this like kind
We'll
of
read it
live
out.
as well and do a Hear
My
Me Out
favorite
Q&A.
podcasters go live, and one of their best episodes was about dentistry live, and another one was about the Kellogg brothers.
I am so glad that I don't have the same podcast
50
pop up on my feed.
Why?
miles.
Ian, it's so. Yvonne listened to like Yvonne and Sachi listened to like 4 episodes with me, and they were great, and we all really enjoyed it. I think. I'm pretty
Maybe
sure.
I'll jump on the bandwagon eventually.
You're so
Okay.
close.
Anyway,
So
Anyway.
they're held
End of
in the
episode
US,
0.
franchise to 30
over and out.
Thanks for hearing us out.
So it
Peace out.
began as a
Bye-bye.
spin-off of something called